The world will soon get a chance to see a new Steve Jobs interview now that footage from a 1995 on-camera appearance has hit movie theaters. The journalist who sat down with Jobs teamed up with entrepreneur Mark Cuban to release Steve Jobs' The Lost Interview. Senior West Coast correspondent Jon Erlichman has more on what Jobs had to say. John, very excited about this interview.
Well, it is great, Emily, because we know about the fascination with Steve Jobs. Just look at the success of the Steve Jobs biography. This interview just as interesting in a lot of ways. Here's Steve Jobs, for example, on wanting to get things right.
And I'm also one of these people that I don't really care about being right, you know. I just care about success. So you'll find a lot of people that will tell you that I had a very strong opinion, and they presented evidence to the contrary, and 5 minutes later I completely changed my mind. Because I'm like that. I don't mind being wrong. And I'll admit that I'm wrong a lot. It doesn't really matter to me too much. What matters to me is that we do the right thing.
Bob Cringely is the man who conducted that Lost interview, and he just flew across the country to join us here on Bloomberg West. Thank you, Bob. And this literally was a Lost interview.
Yeah, absolutely. This is from my documentary series, Triumph of the Nerds, made in 1995. We interviewed 125 Silicon Valley luminaries, including Steve Jobs, for that 3-hour series, which has been seen in 60 countries. But we only used 9 minutes out of the 69-minute Jobs interview, and then all of the master tapes were lost until Steve Jobs died on October 5th, and the director said, I think I kept a copy of that Jobs interview. Let's go look for it in his garage. And he found a VHS copy that is the only one that exists, and alas, it was the only one of the 125 that he kept.
Wow. It is incredible, and you are someone who did work at Apple. You were employee number 12. Those comments from Steve Jobs, is that how Steve was?
Yeah, we were really lucky in that we got a contiguous 69 minutes with Steve where he explains basically his philosophy of products and management and companies and people and what he means when he says this and that. And he went back to Apple a year later and was in charge 18 months later. And after that, Apple, basically shut down the PR machine, and you didn't get that part of Steve ever again.
Right.
So the amazing thing about this interview is that if you know what happened later, if you know about the iMac and the iPod and the iPhone and the iPad and iTunes, you hear it in these answers and you see how it came to be.
Well, let's play another clip on Steve wanting to make society better overall. Let's hear what he had to say.
The way that we're going to ratchet up our species is to take the best and to spread it around to everybody so that everybody grows up with better things and starts to understand the subtlety of these better things.
And to your point, to hear those comments now, it is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. The iPod was a better MP3 player.
Yeah.
A better thing.
What has been the reaction from Apple to this?
Well, the iTunes people were very helpful. Apple PR is a little wary. That our show is opening tonight, and they haven't seen it, or maybe they have, I don't know. They didn't ask me for a copy. Roger Ebert gave us 3 out of 4 stars.
There you go.
So my guess is that tomorrow they'll love me.
Can I ask very quickly, why did Steve not do more interviews, do you think? I mean, you see the passion in it. Couldn't it have made Apple an even more watched and amazing place for people to observe?
You think so, but he had such a need to control, and he was a very nervous interview. I had known him at this point for 18 years. And so I think that helped a great deal. He got sick the first time, which wasn't unusual for Steve to be too ill to do something like this. And so we caught him on a good day, and he was on.
Well, thank you for being on and for joining us today after just crossing the country, Bob Cringely, the man behind that Lost interview in theaters now. Emily, back over to you.